Here's Brody Brazil.
During the recent spring months, it really felt like there was some momentum and traction as it relates to the NHL possibly returning to Atlanta for a third time. A group emerged. They really got their plans together. They got the money together. They got the approvals together. They knew that if they had all this, they would then be in the right spot to take it to the league and get their approval and get things moving from the league's end. Turns out the league, after a Board of Governors meeting, has reportedly said or thought that they're not exactly ready to expand to Atlanta or, to be honest, anywhere beyond at this point. So to be very clear, this is not an Atlanta-specific thing on pause. This seems like expansion overall. The league is just not ready to have that conversation yet, with yet being a key word. We take it back to the first week or so of May. The playoffs are already going on. Gary Bettman does a press conference. He's asked about Atlanta, and this kind of amplified the entire conversation when he said about Atlanta, quote, "It's a different place than when the Flames and Thrashers left in terms of how big the city is, how robust it is, the sporting interest. I don't think the prior two visits have any bearing on whether or not we would go back if all the other pieces that are referred to were put together, like a good ownership group, an arena that's turnkey, ready to go, that's not a problem, and also another team in the league that only adds to the growth of the game and doesn't diminish anything. That new team doesn't need help. That new team helps the league more than the other way around." Forsyth County has things pretty much on lock at this point. They've now got approvals and final agreements for a place called The Gathering at South Forsyth, a 102-acre, $3 billion project. You know typically how this works. There's the arena, plus retail, residential, hospitality, and an 18,000-seat barn. Yes, it's hockey, so it'll be a barn for the brand new NHL team to play there. Now, there has been some criticism, the location here. You're way out in the suburbs of Atlanta, but a lot of people down there feel like this is a more opportune spot and location to put a hockey arena. The county's going to invest $225 million only if the NHL awards this county a team, and all of the funds there publicly, the subsidies, they'll be generated through real estate taxes on site. So it's the old no new taxes, no additional taxes. This site is going to pay for itself. And if I'm being honest, for a brand new project like this, which I know they say $3 billion, but by the time you do it, it could be $5 billion. I say to only get and ask for 225. I think the ask was for more, but to only get 225, that number could have been much higher, as we've seen in other places. The county would own the arena for the 49-year life of the lease, so that's interesting. And then obviously the team would be renting it, so it's a $1 million rent for each of those years through 49 years under the lease. The county gets $2.50 per ticket, per event, like hockey or otherwise, so that's how the county's going to get some revenue out of this, in addition to what they're kicking into the project. And the county and the Board of Education will collect all sales tax on site, which they're projecting is an additional $8 million a year. So it's not all give. There's a little bit of take back too. So that's the deal that Forsyth County decided to make. And that brings us to looking at a completed package. So now the Krause Sports and Entertainment Group, Vernon Krause is heading this group, heading one of these Atlanta groups. That's another thing we'll get into in a second. But this group has basically everything they need. They've got the ownership group, the people that have the money to pay an expansion fee to start construction on this project. They've got the land agreement. They've got the site picked out. They've got control of that site. They've got zoning. They've got approvals. And now they've got the county in and on board with public subsidies. I mean, if you're doing an expansion team, a relocation team, whatever it is that you're doing, if you're getting ready to host a professional sports team, if you have all this in order, then there's not much more you can do besides wait for the league. And that brings us to this topic. Frank Saravalli is covering the Board of Governors meeting from the other day, and he brought us this update, which says it pretty clear. Gary Bettman said, the commissioner, said they have appraised the Board of Governors of expressions of interest. Nothing has risen to the level of application yet to consider. The league will not open a formal process, and prospective markets and parties are now aware of an expansion fee price. So, on one hand, the league is saying not ready to go down that road, not ready to have that conversation with groups and get specific on expansion and where we go and who we deal with, but the people who are prospective, like buyers into the league and parties that would be interested in expansion, they're now aware of whatever the expansion fee price is. So it's like the product doesn't exist yet. trying to think of this in a retail analogy. The product doesn't exist, but you know how much it's going to cost when it eventually does come out. So on one hand, they didn't close the door entirely. If we're talking about what an expansion fee looks like now, that is an indication. That helps those groups figure out, okay, here's what we need to start planning around. I don't know what that number is. It's got to be close to $1 billion at this point. We've seen 500 and 600 million, 700 million. So in recent years, that number, if expansion is going to be 2026 or beyond, it's probably going to be close to $1 billion. And that brings me to the takeaways here. So the NHL is not going to meet like at this level, a board of governors level, I don't think again until October. And even at that point, the conversation is probably going to be more about the season, the league, and some other pressing issues. They may not bring this up again until late 25, early 2026. And I'm not saying that's the worst thing. I mean, to do this, you got to do it right. You got to do it when the league's ready. It takes two to tango, not just a group in Atlanta that's ready to go and got the approvals. I get it. They want to build on that momentum, but you need the league to also feel, right about this too. And so I'm okay with a couple months, but if you start kicking this can too far down the road, then other groups, like I'll get to the last point here while it's on my mind. The Krause group in Atlanta, they want to strike while the iron's hot. Like the more time you give, right, until the NHL is ready to look at expansion, other groups might pop up. And you'd have to think in Atlanta, there's an intimidation factor. Like this group already has the land, they've got the approvals, they've got all the boxes checked. It's a lot of hard work for somebody else to jump in that conversation, but it just gives other cities, other groups, other everything more time to also figure out how they want to jump in this competition too. Also, this is the NHL, and I don't know, this is very speculative. Are they considering expansion in multiple markets? And maybe they recognize, hey, Atlanta is ready, but we want to do this two at a time. And we don't have the other city yet. So we don't want to go too far down the road with Atlanta when that group in Houston is not exactly ready. Or that group maybe, and there's not one, but there should be, a big time push in Phoenix, and that group is not ready. Or anywhere else, Portland or Quebec City, you name it, anywhere else beyond. Maybe the NHL is just thinking that they need to get two aligned at once so that they can tackle both of them at the same time. I don't know. That's possible, but I don't know what the league is considering, just Atlanta or more than Atlanta. That's obviously all part of it. So quick video, well, not really, but I tried to be quick just to say that all the talk about Atlanta, all the push, yeah, that work, it's still there. It's not going away. It's not fading away. That group should still be as excited as they were a couple weeks ago. Remember, they were talking about the Stanley Cup final finishing and that they were going to go to New York and present this. And I don't know if they even got that chance before necessarily the league said we're not moving forward on this. But the point is, all that hard work, it still exists. It didn't go away. It was not for nothing. But it's also not for right now. And the league just isn't ready to commit to Atlanta. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments section below. Also, thumbs up while you're down there helps me, the video, and the channel. And don't forget, hit that subscribe button. I definitely want to see you back here next time.